setup here. And the first thing, you don't do anything with the camera. The first thing you have to do is you have to set up a calibration. Now, so what we did last night in lab, you didn't have to create a new calibration. You could have used an existing one, that's fine. But depending on what you're doing, you may have to create a calibration. So the way you do it, click the new button, make sure it says grid pattern calibration tool. On some of the other robots, it may have something else. There are other options here. So be aware of that. And then you have to go back in, after you've clicked on it, you have to go back into it again. Select the camera, it's the only camera you get, right? And you want to set your exposure. So, actually, let's go back to that. You see this here? That is that light causing that. So depending on what you try to do, you may need, and this is why I'm saying, lighting is everything with these vision systems. And so we can get close enough if we just drop it to about 5, that'll be fine. Calibration grids, these are photographic paper. Not cheap. Don't poke more holes in it or I will beat you bloody. Obviously, past classes have been stupid. So they cracked the plexiglass, pushing the robot into it. Because they're idiots. Please do not make it worse. It'll have a center-to-center spacing, which is grid spacing. And you just put this down in the field of view. This button up here, snap, lets me take a picture. This one lets me do live.
Which one lets you do live? Do that one more time.
This one here.
I see.
And what you want to do is try to get the pattern reasonably square and reasonably centered. Doesn't have to be perfect. You also want to make sure the sucker's in focus.
Is it just like a microscope and twist?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So once you're done, you can hit the snap to stop the live feed. And you need to select an application frame and a calibration frame. For now, plan on hitting, select 0 for the application, and 1 is fine for this.
Calibration.
Yeah. You can set the frame, and then you need to do a find. Now, if you look over here on the left, I've got this, I guess it's red, box. Now it's blue. I can drag this, purple. And I want to only have the dots included. If I have this stuff out here, it may try to find some of those as circles. That's bad. So resize this so that it's only around the dots. Hit OK. That's fine. Just ignore that. And what you're looking for is make sure that you don't see any numbers that are like way out over here or down there. Each number should be next to one of those black dots. So it says found. You can come up to data. All right, see how this says 18 as a maximum error? That's really bad. I don't know why it's that bad, but it is. So we can sort these by the amount of error. So 122, wherever it is, it really doesn't like 122, right? Because everything else, I mean, 0.7, 0.9, 18. So if you want to delete 122, come in and type 122, hit delete, and it'll get rid of that one piece of information. Realistically, you want this error to be under 0.5.6. For now, for our purposes, you know what, if it's a 1, it's close enough. I can save it. And at this point, I've calibrated my camera.
And errors under 1.5.
Really, you want it under 0.5.
Right.
0.5, 0.6, but for the demo purposes, for you practicing, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
So you can close that, you can go to Vision Process Tools, create a new process. You want to do a 2D single vision. There are other options, but you want 2D single vision. Give it a name. You cannot use the same name for the camera calibration as the vision process tool. Even though that would be nice and make life a lot easier finding your stuff, you can't do that. So give it a name, tell it okay. Once again, it brings you back here, so you have to double click it again to get into it. I don't know why they do it that way, they do. It is what it is. Okay, so I need to select my calibration that I just did. Mine was all L's. You'll note that the exposure time goes back up to that 33 again, so I can fix that. And so in this case, because I still have the grid there, that's what I'm seeing, but I can remove that. Put my part down. I can tell it to take a picture, right? And so I've got good contrast. I got nice dark black. This is silverish whitish, so it's happy. The next thing you need to do is this geometric pattern match. And you're going to teach it. And what I need to do, what I want to do, is I want to put a box, once again, around just what I'm trying to teach. So in my case, I just want to teach the Mickey Mouse looking shape. And now it's found it, right? I can set the origin if I care. Don't worry about that for now. I can add a training mask to hide stuff that I don't want the process to pay attention to. So if I don't care about this over here, and if it's causing problems, I can just kind of color it in. Same thing with like maybe this shadow over here. I'm just doing it for the hell of it. This is not going to matter to the process we just did here. But so I can color this in. Tell it okay. And so it'll just ignore all that is what it does. So I can do a snap and find. So snap and find snaps a picture and then finds it. And it found 3 variations of that. I have no clue why. I'll be honest. It should not have done that. But notice the scores. 99, 80, 80, and 77. So it thinks... Oops. I'm back here. It thinks it found 3 iterations of that are all valid. I don't know why. It shouldn't have. It might be because of it didn't see that edge cleanly enough. Let's go to here. I don't know why I found 3, but it did. So, whatever. It is what it is, right? The way you get rid of the other 2, because the best one is going to be 99 or 100, because that's what I taught, if I haven't moved anything. And so anything else we can filter out by changing our score threshold from 70 to, let's call it 90. And now when I do a snap and find, it only finds the one, and finds the one it should find. Does that make sense? You're going to want to save this every so often, so I'm going to save it. You then need to go back up to the top level of the tree up here. You need to do one more snap and find. make sure it finds only the one, and then come down over here to set reference position. Just click it, and you have to do this or the next thing we're going to do does not work correctly.
Okay, I'm sorry. Do snap and find, and then after that.
Yeah,
go to
snap and find, and then set reference position.
Set.
And it has to be from when you've clicked on this 2D single view vision process part of the tree up here.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Make sense? While we're at it, I'm going to do what I did last night as well. And so I'm going to come back down to my pattern match. I'm going to hit add, and I'm going to add a caliper tool. Now, I've learned something that I did not realize last night. The M1IA doesn't have a caliper tool. I have no idea why. I'm going to call and find out. Maybe, when I get time. But apparently it doesn't, so fine, it doesn't. It is what it is. I know that there are about 3 of them though. And so what I can do is I can come in here, I want to, this is what I was talking about last night, edge polarity. I want to go, in this case, from light to dark to light, because I'm going to measure the diameter of that hole, the big hole, okay? Last night when I was doing the washers, if I wanted to measure this edge to this edge, I would want this, instead of light to dark, I want to go dark to light, because I'm going from dark to light to dark. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm going to measure in here. So I hit set. It asks me what I want to measure. I'm going to zoom in a little. I can rotate that if I want to. And what I want to do is set this such that the middle line crosses what I want to measure. And I can change how wide of an area it's going to measure, and that's fine. I'm going to tell it okay.
Does it matter how far you go out? Like if I was doing this and I brought it all the way out to here and
No.
then this part, okay, so good.
What you want to be careful about when you do that, however, if there's something else down here, really what you're caring about more than anything is this middle line. Where does it stop?
Okay.
If you bring this middle line past here, it may cause problems. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So good question, but there's the answer to that. Yeah.
So why you extend all the way down? Why?
Because you want that middle line to cross both edges.
Okay. So that's not measuring
Yeah, so you
anything.
want
right?
to
I
cross
figure like-
this edge as well as this
Yeah,
edge.
you want to cross this edge here and that edge there.
Okay.
Because I'm only measuring that diameter.
Okay.
Make sense, Juan?
Yeah. So you're not measuring anything with this, right?
Yeah, this out here is not measuring it.
Okay.
It's that middle line that does the measure.
Okay.
I can set what my reference length is if I want. So if I hit set, it's saying that is 35.9 pixels. If I were to measure it, whatever it measures at, I could put in that. Let's see. And then the other thing I can add, I forgot to show this last night. So edges, I don't know what.
Projection?
Projection and
Grid.
it's not grid. I think it's. I'm not sure what grad's supposed to mean, but what it's giving me, it gives me this. You see this graph here? That is basically showing me how strong, how defined that edge is. The more narrow this is, the sharper that edge is. So if that was real wide, it meant I had a real fuzzy edge, and it wasn't sure where the edge was. If that's real tight and narrow like that, which it is, which is great, it means I got a clean, crisp edge, and I'm probably in focus. I'm going to save this. I'm going to add another tool. I'm going to do that measurement output tool that we talked about last night. And that will let me take the caliper tool and the length and output it So if I do a snap find here, or snap and run, you'll notice here, value 1 gives me a value. So now not only is it finding the part, it's measuring it, and it is smart enough to know that if I move the part around, it knows relative to the shape that I found, measure here on it. It'll track that for me, which is why you do the geometric pattern match before you do the caliper tool and then the measurement tool. And it basically just goes down the sequence of whatever's up there.
Oh,
All right? So, that is done. I can close all this. I can go to runtime. And all this is going to do is show me what the robot sees when I run that program. But I need to bring this up so you can see the monitor or the pendant. All right, so I'm going to create a new program. All right. I'm going to add a label. And then under instruction, I can come over to vision. And I need to do a run find. This basically brings up the program I want to run and pairs it. But the second step I have to do is this, get offset. And so the combination of those two loads the vision program and executes it. You have to have both together. So I put in my program name again here. I'm going to use vision register 1 just because it doesn't really matter. And if it fails, I'm going to tell it to go back to label 1. All right? If it succeeds, if it finds a part, it's going to continue down the program. If it fails in this case, because I put jump label 1, it'll jump back up to label 1 and then try it again. It's basically, it'll just keep going until it finds a part. So if I were to pull the part out, it's going to just keep looking. As soon as it finds a part, it's going to stop with what I've got here. Does that make sense? To get the measurement information, what we talked about last night, you have to do this vision register.mes. And I'm going to put in the register 1, from vision register 1, measurement 1. Make sense?
yeah. Take a picture of
Yeah.
what the screen should look like.
Good? All right, so when I run this, I'm going to take my part away. You'll notice it basically hovers around because it's not finding a part. If I switch back to here, now as soon as I put the part in place, it finds it,
That was cool.
Yeah, that-
does all this, gets all that information. Here's my measurement, and you'll you notice it went all the way back to 1 and just stayed there. Now, granted, I also let go of shift, but even if I'd been holding it, it would have just ended the program. So if I run it again, it's done.
Oh, cool.
Does that make sense? So that is as far as we've gotten on the vision in general.